their wisdom with all of us. Therefore, please fasten your seat belts, grab your notepad or diary or a book and pen, and enjoy the next couple of hours. Our, our first trainer has been a Toastmaster for 14 long years. Though he enjoyed every level almost equally, he would point to the level 4 in effective coaching pathway as what he enjoyed most. That is specifically due to it becoming focused on how people improve with coaching. What is closest to his heart is being with people who are looking to improve themselves. His Toastmasters journey has helped him become a better person, and it is a continuous process, he says. Let's put our hands together to welcome DTM Ramesh Anantaraman.
Thank you. Good morning, Toastmaster Mridula, and thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And today I'm going to give you, like what Toastmaster Mridula said, a gist of how simple it is. It's I can tell you, demystifying pathways. It's going to be much simpler than understanding how to solve a Rubik's cube. So today I'm going to share my experience in doing level 1s and 1 and 2 in pathways. To get to know a little bit more about you, I've got one poll so that I can customize my session as per the needs of the members who are here. Can I request the Zoom master to kick off poll 1, please? I'm just going to give you 10 seconds to do this poll. Folks, these are not difficult questions. These are simple ones. Can I request for the poll 1 to be posted? I hope everybody can see it. I'm just going to give you 10 seconds to do this. Thank you. Request the Zoom master to stop the poll and just share the results so that we are all aware of what this class is like. Thank you. And we see that, okay, most of the members have not completed level 1 and 2 in pathways. And I think that's where this session is going to be focused on. I'm going to just share a few slides of mine. It's not going to be too much. I'm just going to be on and off with the slides. Okay, what this session is going to be about. I'm going to give you a glimpse of the learning opportunities in these level 1 and 2 in pathways. I'm going to give you some more tips on how to get maximum from these levels. And more importantly, I want you to appreciate the kind of resources what we have available online for helping us in the journey in pathways. And what this session is not about, this is in no way going to be a replacement for the material which is going to be available online. I know a lot of people, every time they get into a project, all they want to look at it is what is the speech I need to give. And just straight go to the speech and what are the objectives of the speech, go set up a session with the VP Education and give the speech and saying that, okay, yes, I've done with it. That is not what it is going to be. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and I promise this is going to be the last poll I am going to be having. Can I request the Zoom master to kick off poll number 2, please? 5 more seconds for okay, can I request the Zoom master to end the poll and display the results, please? Thank you. As you see, rightly, almost about 74% of the people believe that you learn the most when preparing for an examination and not in the actual process of writing an examination and getting the results. In Toastmasters, especially in pathways, this is even more. Okay, in this case, there are still 30% of the people who believe that they learn most when they write the exams and get the results. Writing the exams and providing you the results is a feedback on how much you have learned. In an examination, what you are doing is demonstrating what you have learned and getting evaluated for it. The learning happens before you go write the examination. And it's going to be very similar in pathways. From my perspective, again, it's my personal perspective, after having gone through a complete pathways and having kicked off my second pathway, 80% of the learning happens when you go through the material in the pathways base camp. And it is 20% of it which gets validated when you present a speech across in the club and get a feedback from an evaluator. So if you miss out going through and providing your complete attention while you're doing the online material, you're missing out 80% of the learning. And I can assure you, after having completed the DTM and the traditional pathways, after having completed my entire one pathways and having started the second pathways, I believe there are still more and more things I learn online. Okay, so what is it we are going to be? Why is it I emphasize so much on this? In an online environment, it is not about just saying that, okay, this is the objectives of this particular level and this is what you're supposed to be doing. You go prepare a speech, present it to your club, and uh, get a feedback from an evaluator. That is not what it is all about. It provides you an opportunity where you can do self-assessment, reflect on the results of your assessments online, and at the end, you go and present, share your learnings. When you give your speech, the most important thing what you are doing is sharing your learning and get evaluated on how well you have learned and how is it you can learn better, what more in that particular project you can learn more. Now let's look at what does level 1 and 2 do for us. In level 1 and 2 provides us an opportunity to learn the fundamentals of communication and leadership. Unlike the old, what we call as a traditional learning process in Toastmasters, where you have the communication track and the leadership track both going separately in parallel without being linked to each other, in pathways, both your communication and leadership track is intertwined. Now, let's look at level 1. What does level 1 do? Level 1 teaches you the fundamental core principles and concepts in Toastmasters. Toastmasters, what do? We come, provide, give speech, communicate, ability for us to communicate, improve our communication skills. How does our communication skills improve? By incorporating the feedback given by the evaluators. So the first thing what we do is icebreaker. Go, open up, give a speech and saying that get comfortable communicating and speaking in front of an audience. The most important aspect is once you have started speaking, how do you keep improving? That is what the next project in level 1 talks about, evaluation and feedback, where you go, give a speech and get an evaluator to provide you feedback and how the speech could have been better, how you could have communicated better. And the most important thing about learning is to incorporate the feedback what you have got. And that is what specifically this speech talks about, to say that as soon as you complete a speech, take the feedback and provide a second speech. And finally, it's not sufficient for you just to get evaluated. Somebody evaluates you, you need to have the ability and the capability to evaluate others. So that is what you do as an evaluator. And the last speech is about researching and presenting. Let's look in depth about level 1 icebreaker. I have done icebreaker thrice. I've done an icebreaker in the traditional path. I have done icebreaker in the effective communication pathway, which I completed. Now I've done my third icebreaker in the dynamic leadership, which is the second pathway which I have chosen. Now, why do I need to do the icebreaker thrice? At least I have done icebreaker thrice. If you want to become a DTM in pathways, you need to pick up 2 pathways and complete them. That means you essentially have to do 2 icebreakers. If I have already communicated, if I have comfortable or complete a pathway, why does it make sense to do that icebreaker twice? That is one of the questions which people do ask me. I see that every time, be it an examination or be it an after a speech, you always feel, I could have done it better. If I had an opportunity, I can do something better. This provides you an opportunity. An icebreaker is possibly the only time where you get to speak. You're essentially forced to speak about yourself. And what is it you want to communicate to the club about yourself? Okay. And what is it differently you would want to do it second time around? So that's what icebreaker provides an opportunity for the people who are doing the icebreaker the first time, just getting comfortable speaking to an audience and getting to understand, to say that what are all the strengths, what you already have, and what are all the areas where you think potentially you are going to be looking for improving as you go through the journey. Icebreaker, keep it simple. Why do we say that, okay, during an icebreaker, speak about yourself, your family? Because that is one thing where you don't need to memorize a script. Because there are 2 aspects of it: preparing, memorizing the script, and delivering. An icebreaker, we just want to make it simpler, reduce half the tension so that you don't have to memorize about your life story, because you can, if somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night, you can say that. So that stress of memorizing a script is removed out, and all you're focused on delivering, communicating about yourself. So let's can keep it simple. The second aspect is evaluation and feedback. We already discussed, to say that the first speech, this is the first time you're going to write a speech in a structured manner. You're going to pick a particular topic and have it between 5 to 7 minutes with an opening body conclusion and give a first speech. And the first speech, you get evaluated. The most important aspect of Toastmasters is improving yourself with every speech. And this is what gives you the fundamentals to say that, how do I incorporate the feedback? So that is why they say that the first thing you do is give a speech, get the feedback, incorporate the feedback, and give a speech again. My recommendation is to have the same speech what you have given in the first speech, incorporating all the feedbacks from an evaluator and giving a second speech, ideally to the same evaluator. The evaluator will be able to find out, to say that, okay, this is the feedback I had given you, and this is how we have incorporated it, and this is what you could have incorporated more. Okay, so this gives an opportunity for you to learn about how to take the feedback, incorporate it, and give it back again. Ideally, if it's the same speech, it becomes easier for you and the evaluator to find out how have you incorporated the feedback. And the next thing, after having done that, saying that, oh, this is how I get feedback and this is how I incorporate a feedback, the next step for you is to serve as an evaluator. In the traditional path, the serving as an evaluator comes in the leadership track. You could potentially be just focusing on the communication track and done potentially 6, 7, or even completed a competent communicator and not served as an evaluator. And that means you are not giving the best to the club and you are not getting the best out of the Toastmasters experience. Toastmaster experience is not just about learning how to communicate, it's also about helping you provide feedback and getting people to become better themselves. That is why it's important that in level 2, you complete the basics of all the core Toastmaster skills. Now let's look at level 2. Level 2 is an interesting one. Level 2 has got 3 projects: understanding your leadership style, understanding your communication style, introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. The first two, I would say there is huge amount of opportunity. When I say typically 80% of the learning happens in your online work, what you do by yourself in the Pathways Basecamp, and 20% happens when you give the speech and get a feedback from an evaluator. In these two projects, in understanding your leadership style and understanding your communication style, I would say 90% of the learning happens what you do online with the Basecamp. And it is only 10% which happens when you give the speech and get a feedback. Why do I say that you get 90% of the learnings online when you do? These two particular projects gives you an opportunity to run a self-assessment questionnaire. You have a self-assessment questionnaire where you get assessed on what is your leadership style and what is your communication style, and the system scores you to say that across the various styles of leadership, which is your predominant leadership style and which are the areas of types of leadership style where you are little weak, or where I would say rather than weak, which you are rated lower. And once you get that assessment, once you get to say, oh, these are my predominant leadership styles, you have to reflect back. That is the most important thing. If this is the type of leader what I'm currently, and this is the style of communication which I employ currently, why am I in this place? Because your leadership style evolves as a result of the experiences what you had. And your communication style also evolves with the type of people you are communicating with, the type of roles you have played in your professional lives, and it is very, very important. Now, the last aspect is introduction to Toastmasters mentoring. Mentoring is, I would say, one of the very highly underutilized, under-prioritized aspects in Toastmasters. Mentoring provides a huge value. I'm not going to discuss too much about mentoring here because a lot of information is given in the Basecamp. I would urge you to go there. Having mentors, having wonderful mentors and possibly many mentors would help you really leapfrog into your professional career and also help you become a better person. Now I'm going to look at a little bit in depth into what do these particular projects mean. Now, before I get into the specific project, there is a common confusion in the leadership communication style, even among the senior people, to say that, okay, what is it I'm supposed to present? And it says the leadership project is very clear. It says this type of way or this type of leader, and you have all these assessment. What is it I'm supposed to give as a speech in my club? And quite often people have got perturbed when the evaluators say, no, this is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this. One most important aspect of Pathways is the flexibility it gives you. A traditional manual was very clear in saying that this is your objective, this is what you're supposed to be doing in this project. In Pathways, virtually all of the projects gives you the flexibility to say that you can choose either ways. These are the potential ways you can do. Let me give an example. In a leadership project, after you have completed all your assessments, done the reflection, it gives you an option to say that either you can give a speech about your leadership style, or if you're not comfortable discussing about your leadership style. For example, you could be a corporate club and you could be a manager or a senior manager and your club, and in your club you would have your peers, your juniors as well as your superiors sitting there as part of the club. You may not be very comfortable being there, going there and saying, oh, this is how pathways has assessed my leadership style to be. You may not be very comfortable. In that case, there is an option to say that instead you can talk about leadership styles in general, specific leadership styles, and what is it you like, and what are the examples of people adopting these kind of leadership styles. So it gives you an option to say that you don't have to necessarily do that. Whatever be the circumstances, be it in a corporate club or even be it in a community club where you say, no, I don't want to openly discuss about my particular style. What is it? Uh, the pathways as given as evaluated my style to be, and what the project should not be. It should not be the report on the content of understanding your leadership style project or understanding your communication style. And people are confused. What does it mean that it should not be a report on the content of the project? They say, okay, but it talks about leadership. Am I not supposed to talk about leadership? Am I not supposed to talk about leadership styles? Your project cannot be part of this session. In this session, I'm not talking about leadership styles. In this session, I'm not talking about my leadership style. In this session, I'm providing you what is available in Pathways as a content in this particular project. So your project, your speech should not be this project, this session, what I'm doing. As long as you're talking about your communication style, as long as you are discussing about leadership styles in general, you're perfectly fine. And it is important that you always communicate with your evaluator, because there are many flexible options. Tell your evaluator to say that between the options given in this particular project, I'm choosing this option. Either I'm going to be choosing to talk about my communication style or my leadership style, or I'm going to be talking about leadership styles in general, so that the evaluator gets prepared to evaluate accordingly. It says that you have the flexibility within the project to do it either ways. So it's very important on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sharing uh, the leadership project I did, for example. So these are the actual slides I did when I did my leadership style project. For example, I just gave a brief outline about what is it I'm going to do. Said as a part of this project, I responded to a questionnaire. Based on the responses, they scored against the leadership styles, and these are the various leadership styles, and this is the presentation I'm doing as part of this project. And I even said these are the results of the survey questionnaire, and says this is my predominant style of leadership, and these are the types of leaderships which are rated low. I do ask a question to say that I see everything, most of them in the 23, 24s. I said, am I a balanced leader or a confused leader? Because these were the questions I was asking myself when I got the results of the questionnaire. And that is where I believe, when I keep emphasizing, the learnings happen before you give the speech. I did the questionnaire and it evaluated, saying that these are my leadership styles. I reflect back and saying that, does it truly reflect about me? And the areas wherever it says it's high, and saying that, okay, if this is the type of leader I am I comfortable being that kind of a leadership style? Or do I want to make some changes in the way I do? I have to reflect back, and possibly I take it back to my workplace. the place where I am serving as a leader, and say, what are these qualities? How are these particular leadership styles affecting the way I lead my teams? So this is how the reflection happens as part of this. All of this happens even before you get to utter a single word in your speech. Now, a couple of more slides, and I gave specifics about the altruistic leader, which was scored the highest in my leadership style. And I said that these are the ones, and I even discussed what I did not give in the presentation, but I did discuss in the club, and saying that what is it in my experience over the years which has molded me more to be an altruistic leader? What were the situations which happened? What were the learnings I learned as part of my corporate life? And specifically, I looked at it and saying that the area where I was scored the lowest, it says the bureaucratic leader was my lowest score at 17. And because it came low, is it an area where I would want to improve, or I choose saying that, no, I don't want to be a bureaucratic leader? And I looked at it and saying that, oh, even though it's scored low, why is it even 17? Why is it not 10? I said, could be situation driven. I always reflect back and saying that there were situations where I had to be behaving like a bureaucratic leader, and saying that where it's a red tape was an authoritative one. Exactly same styles, same type of learnings in the communication style. And you get assessment, self-assessment questionnaire, and these were the results of the questionnaire, where it said that I was predominantly a direct communication. I have a direct communication style. I look at it over the years as a leader, as a senior leader in the corporate, and saying that, okay, I was comfortable. Possibly the people who are at a junior level or who are in the supervisory category, they'll say that they will find themselves being more a supportive leader. But all this provides you an opportunity to say that this is where you are, and this is how I evaluate your communication style. How does this match up with your needs and the needs of your profession? And then you reflect back saying that, how do I keep changing it? So that is where, just like how Rubik's Cube, it says you, the more and more often you do, the better you get at it. I would go through these, the learning materials again and again, understanding the different styles of communication, and saying that if I am scored very low in analytical, or if I am scored very low in direct, what is it talking about direct communication styles? Because the advantage of pathways being an online medium rather than a printed medium is there is huge amount of video resources available, where you just don't have to read, you can watch and learn from how other people are communicating in real life. So that's a huge opportunity. That's the reason I keep emphasizing that do not miss out on this learning opportunities. Don't be in a hurry. As soon as you get onto a particular project, go, what is your assignment? Go and giving a speech. No, go through the learning materials in depth. And quite often in virtually all of the projects, there is an assessment before and assessment after. When you begin, there is an assessment to say that how do you rate yourself in this particular quality we are going to talk about. And as you go through the online learnings and you do your project speech and complete it, get feedback, and there is an assessment after you have completed the project. How have you progressed as you have completed the project? And the final one is about Toastmasters mentoring in level 2. In this, the objective is not for you to become a mentor for somebody. In this particular project, it gives you the communication, the core aspects of mentoring, how to be a good mentor, how to be a good mentee. You get to understand what are the qualities you should look for in a good mentor, and what are the qualities you should possess if you want to be a good mentor for others. And here the project speech is about, because it's still in level 1, it's still in level 2, you have not done a lot in Toastmasters. The project speech is about when you were a prodigy. That means you had a mentor outside of Toastmasters. You may not have sufficient experience time in Toastmasters to have had a mentor, but I'm sure you had a mentor. Could have been in school, could have been in college, could have been at your workplace. You give your speech about what were your experiences when you were a protege and you had a mentor. And this completes your level 2. And as I keep doing this level 1, I've just completed level 1. As I keep progressing on to level 2 in my path, in my second pathway, I'm even more excited to be redoing it again, because I'm going to be comparing the notes, saying that, okay, this is how the assessment was possibly about 8-9 months back, or no, more than a year back, when I did this level. And how has it changed since then? How have I changed as a leader? How have I changed as a communicator? And what are the reasons for this change? Were these positive changes? Are there negative changes? What is the course correction I need to do? That is what I keep always looking in Toastmasters, and that's the reason why I keep continuously learning. It says DTM completed in its traditional path is not sufficient. New opportunities, new learnings are there in pathways. And as I keep doing it, I am even more excited to say that this is going to be pathways level 1. And there are going to be more and more enhancements going to be done to these pathways educational, and I keep looking to learn more and more. And I hope I have given you a bit of insight into level 1 and 2 in pathways. I'm open for some questions. Thank you. I would request, I think the Zoom master is going to be moderating these questions. If you're, I can't see the chat. Let me stop this share. Zoom master, there are no questions in the chat. If somebody wants to ask a question, they can always unmute and ask.
We have a question, DTM Ramesh Anantaraman. It is
Sure.
from Vinod. I believe this is DTM Vinod Warrior. So the question goes like this. For someone who has completed his DTM, do you still need to proceed in order? Example, if you have completed an evaluation earlier and you can use that once you have finished P3 of level 1, or does the online system restrict this? How do we spread awareness that a speaker should share the entire project content, 20 odd pages, with an evaluator and not just the 2 to 3 pages of evaluation objectives, which are fairly similar for all projects?
No, two things. Number one, pathways. Now, previously it was restricted to say that you have to go specifically in order. Before you complete a particular level, you're not even allowed access onto the next level. They have removed this restriction. So virtually, if you have just kicked off and doing a level 1, nothing stops you from looking at what is the content in level 5 and doing it. But my recommendation is do it in order. There is value in doing it in order. Even if you have done an evaluation before and saying that, oh, it's asking me to do an evaluation, absolutely do it again. Because I do not believe that anybody has gone to a level to say that I've completed it, I don't need to do it again. Every time I do it again, I have I have an opportunity to improve on what I have done. I'll give an example of how great leaders we have in Toastmasters. We have DTM Umam and DTM VP Menon, who have been possibly 10 years senior to me in Toastmasters. When they do a role, they come and seek feedback from me to say that, oh, how was my general evaluation? Did I do it well? Was my evaluation okay? What could I have done better? So there is always scope for improvement. That's the reason why we have such senior people continuing in the organization, because there is always value. I can always, irrespective of how great I am, I have an opportunity to become greater. So I would recommend that you do it in sequence and do not skip any projects.
DCM Ramesh and Raman, we have one more question. It's from
Sure.
Arindam. Can I do the icebreaker second speech after doing the research speech?
You can do it. Nothing stops you from doing the research speech. The reason I would recommend doing the icebreaker second speech as soon as you complete the first speech is for you not to miss out on how to incorporate the feedback, because whatever you had done in the first speech, it'll be fresh in your memory, it'll be fresh in your evaluator's memory, because icebreakers or the second speech feedback, they specifically recommend, possibly this is the only speech where they recommend to say that have the same evaluator ideally who did that evaluated a first speech, because they'll be able to validate to say that, okay, have you incorporated the feedback, whatever has been given to you, and it'll be fresh in their memory, because not everything would be recorded on a piece of paper. Okay, so if you do it quickly, ideally in the next meeting or immediately the first available opportunity, attempt to do it. But if there is something you have already done and you want some more time to incorporate some of the feedback, by all means, go ahead, do your researching and presenting.
We have one more question from Vinod itself. The question goes like this. How do we spread awareness that a speaker should share the entire project content?
Yeah, see, I am not, for example, in a pathways environment, the entire 20 pages, it no longer have 20 pages. When you're talking about the traditional path, you had 4 pages of material and an evaluation sheet. They say, oh, share everything across it. It's not possible in pathways, because the material is not just printed material. Print material is questionnaire and video materials, which you can also go look at it. But it is very important that an evaluator understands the objective of this evaluator is not to validate whether the person completed all the learnings what is possible in level 2. Have you done your leadership style questionnaire? What are the results? Have you reflected back on it? No. An evaluator is evaluating the speech associated to the project. I would recommend the evaluator to only go through the evaluation guideline sheet and says, this is the background to it, to say that he is doing his project on leadership styles. The person has done all these things. This speech is about this. So your focus is only on the speech. And the person is giving a speech on his or her leadership style. And or the person could choose to talk about leadership styles in general. So as an evaluator, that is your guidance. You don't have to go beyond it to say that, oh, what did that person do? The person might have done anything, might have scored something differently, but if the person chooses, I'm going to talk about leadership styles in general. That is what you're supposed to be focusing on. And there are even more options to say that the communication, the style of the speech could be humorous, could be informative. So you need to communicate with the speaker to say that what are the options you're choosing? Are you going to talk about your leadership style or leadership styles in general? And what is going to be the style of your communication? Is it going to be a humorous style, or is it going to be an informative? So all the evaluator has to do is, among the options given in the evaluation sheet, communicate with the speaker and say, among these options available, what is it you're choosing? Rather than having our own idea to say that, oh, the speaker should be choosing this option, should be specifically having it in an informational style. Or on the other contrary, look at it and saying that, let me listen to the first 2 minutes of speech and understand whether it's a humorous speech or is it going to be an informative speech, and then do assessment. That means half the time is over by the time you figure out it's a humorous style. So communicate with the speaker And my recommendation is just focus on the evaluation sheet. That is good enough.
DTM Ramesh, one more question from DTM Samira. Can we do a mix of both the methods you mentioned in leadership style or communication style in speech level 2? That is giving a brief of the types of communicating and leadership style and then talk about our style, impact or etc.
Yes, we can. In fact, in my speech, I did both. I identified these are all the different styles of leadership, and this is my leadership school. What type of leader I am, and then I went about discussing specific aspects of each leadership style. So you can do both specific across to you as well as general about the leadership styles.
Okay. We have one more question. This is from Toastmaster Kanti. Uh, the, could we start two parts simultaneously or one by one? Could you give your opinion and suggestions?
My recommendation is do at least up to level 3 of one path before you kick off the next path. The reason for that is there are at least level 1 and 2. The projects are exactly the same. Okay, so if you are going to be starting two paths simultaneously, you'll be doing one icebreaker. In the next meeting, you're going to be doing another icebreaker. The next, you're going to do one level 1, the first speech you're giving, and then first speech you're giving, you're going to give a speech which is incorporating the feedback, another speech incorporating the feedback. You lose learning opportunities. Okay, you lose getting the best out of the program. So my recommendation is to stagger it. You don't have to necessarily wait till you complete one before a kickoff. And actually, when I did completed my level 4 in the effective coaching pathway, I kicked off level 1 in the dynamic leadership. So my recommendation is to stagger it.
Okay. This would be the last question, and this is from Toastmaster Nimmi. Is it okay to talk about mentoring experience outside Toastmasters?
Yes, it is perfectly fine. And this particular project, level 2 mentoring speech, specifically asks about your experience when you are a protege outside of Toastmasters. So this speech specifically talks about your experience in mentoring outside of Toastmasters.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ramesh. That's the only questions we have received yet.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for a wonderful audience. I hope you got something out of it. And I would keep emphasizing whatever I have given you is snippets of what is the wealth of information, what is available online. So get the best out of the pathways. Go online and take it at your own pace. Thank you very much. Over to the MC.
Thank you, DTM Ramesh Anantraman. Now, may I request everyone to turn on their cameras? Zoom Master, could we have a group photo captured, please, before I move to the second trainer? Could I have all of you turning on the cameras, please?
Smile.
Zoom Master? Yes.
Friday smile.
Friday smile. Friday morning smile.
Right, we still have a lot more people. Just give us 10 seconds.
Okay.
Elna is also asked to switch on her video.
Jarvis, Alex, Rahna. All. You guys don't have to smile just yet. We still have a lot more people out. So can we switch on cameras, please? Okay. Okay, I think the others are a bit camera shy. Okay, fine. Zoom
Okay, in the meantime, I'll just start clicking the pictures and the others can just put their best smile on their faces. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, say cheese.
Cheese.
Okay, one more. So 1, 2, 3, say cheese.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Zoomaster. We done? You got everyone?
Unfortunately, not everyone, but all the people who were switching on their cameras.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Zoomaster. Now we move on to our second trainer. She has been a Toastmaster for 7 years. She enjoyed the project moderating a panel discussion as the skill seemed to be a part of her personality, and it was a discovery. Pathwise, both presentation mastery and leadership development had something unique to offer. Toastmaster has been the opportunity to explore her potential to the maximum, and she discovered several dimensions to her personality. She met a lot of people because of Toastmasters, and this has added a lot of value to her relationship building skill. Her journey in Toastmasters has and will always be the best decision of her life, says TM Jyotika Shetty. Let's welcome Toastmaster Jyotika Shetty.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Mridula, and a very good morning to everyone present here today. I think this has been the fastest time that you have finished your level 1 and level 2 just in 40 minutes. How fast can it get? I'm sure you'll have all got the basics of level 1 and 2. And now you're ready to absorb level 3. So according to the research or the poll that was put up, I understand 69% or 30% of the people have completed level 1 and 2, which means 30% who are here today are ready to absorb level 3. But that doesn't mean that level 1 and level 2 members will not understand level 3. You know, it's something like you've gone to IKEA, you bought your furniture, you understood that you wanted to pick up the best furniture. The salesman has told you what furniture to pick up, or rather they don't even tell that. Now you brought the furniture home, you have the manual, you look at the manual, you open the package and you start fixing it, and then you realize, I need some help. I need some help to put this thing together, and I wish someone was there with me to help me put these things together. How many of us have felt this when we brought something from IKEA? I'm sure most of us have felt that, because that's what I felt. So level 3 is something like this. You've already got your mastering your fundamentals, you've understood your style. Now you need to learn to implement your style or your skills that you've learned in level 1 and 2 so that you can be a better speaker or a better leader. And that's what level 3 will teach you. As far as I'm concerned, I have completed both my parts, and both these parts have given me something or the other. And even as a certified mentor that I'm going to complete very soon, this itself has given me the value of understanding what mentoring is. But today, what I'd like to tell you is that I'm not here to explain what these parts are or what these projects are as per the manual. For that, you can go into the pathways. The manuals that are available there are pretty much simple and they're quite comprehensive. But what I'm here to do today is to show you those additional details or those additional skills that you require to put up a nice speech, a good speech. Because sometimes when, for example, let's take inspire your audience, for example. These are the speeches, when we look at it, many of them come back and tell us that my life is not inspiring. I don't have inspirational stories. So how do I do it? So the objective of today's session, the session that I'm going to give, is to give you those nitty-gritty details or those extra tips that will help you to put your speech together or you put your project together in the most efficient manner. So let me just share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so we are in level 3 now. In just 40 minutes, we reach the level 3. And now we're going to increase our knowledge with the skills that we've acquired in level 1 and 2. So in level 3, there are 14 different electives. And let me tell you as a disclaimer that I'm only going to be touching on the electives. There are certain main projects that each of these parts will have, as well as the electives. Now, these electives are optional, where you need to complete 2 electives. Now, there are, in the maximum, there are 14 projects in level 3. But not all these 14 projects are available for all these parts. Some of them have 12, some of them have 13, and some of them have 14. Now you can see three different projects that are marked in red. What does it mean? What it means is that these 3 projects are also available in level 2 in some of the parts. So since it's available in level 3, we'll be touching on that. Now, since the volume of the number of projects is large, that is 14 in number, we have split this particular session in 2 parts. The first part, which are the 6 speeches, I'll be addressing them, and the 8 speeches will be addressed by DTM Vinod Panikar. Now, both of us will be doing only the electives for level 3. So now that you've got your skills, you've understood the fundamentals of a good speech, and you've understood your communication and leadership style, it's time for you to take your speaking skills to the next level. When I say next level, but leave a space between the podium and you so that you can move your gestures easily and you can be comfortable. These are the basic tips what Dhananjay has told. And these are the tips that are available on internet as well. So there's nothing new about this. But let's look at some more things and details what will help you accentuate your message. And you have to be very smart when you use your body language. When you use a number, initially when we looked at, I think it was Mridula who opened the speech and she used her finger like this. Anything when you have a speech which has numbers 1, 2, and 3, hold your finger like this or your hand like this and use those numberings. And that becomes quite evident that you're talking about numbering to your audience. One of my speeches, I had the same gesture which I had to do, and I held it below my belt. And the evaluator clearly told me that that's not a power position. Hold your finger like this or your hand like this and show those numbers. Whenever you have to show anything as big, small, increase, decrease, use it with your hands. Big, small, increase, decrease. The economy, the coronavirus is on a rise. The economy is decreasing. So when you show your gestures through your hands, it adds additional value. As in when people look at you, they're able to comprehend what exactly your idea is, your message you're trying to give to the audience. Point to your chest area. This is the area that shows emotion. So if you're talking about, I'm really feeling very, I really understand what you're saying, point your hand towards this area. As in if I say, I really mean what you're saying, it doesn't really resonate with your speaker, with your audience. If you're showing division or 2 parts, show them in your hands. For example, if you're saying that, I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. My husband and I are living together for 20 years. So use the hands to show division of 2 parts. It gives a clear distinction to the audience what you're trying to mean. If you want to show unity, bring both hands together. For example, if I'm explaining myself in an icebreaker, for example, I'm a real estate agent and I bring builders and customers together. I'm a real estate agent and I'm bringing, and my duty is to bring builders and customers together. And that shows that you are showing unity rather than saying, I'm a real estate agent and I bring customers and builders together. The message that you're trying to give with your hand gestures is a lot more effective compared to what you would do without your hand gestures. But you have to be very careful when using these hand gestures, because sometimes the hand gesture which is acceptable in your culture or your country may not be acceptable in some other cultures. So you've got to be very careful. Especially things like this. It's commonly it's known as perfect, but in Turkey, it's not accepted. In Japan, it's money. This is a thumbs up that we usually give, which is good job. But in Ghana, it's an insult. Whereas in Germany, it's number one. I never thought of it. Stop. This is what we use for stop. This is considered to be a rude, especially when you're speaking. You use a gesture like this, is considered to be rude. But in West Africa, it means you have 5 fathers, which I think is not the message that you want to give. So understanding your audience is extremely important. This is one common mistake we all do, is pointing our fingers towards the audience. And that's a rude gesture. This is something that you have to be careful. Maintaining eye contact is extremely important, as it brings out your message clearly, as well as develops trust and confidence with the audience. Postures are something that you have to take care when standing on the stage. Holding your hand on your waist can seem to be rude. But if you look at the 2014 World Championship speech of Dhananjay Hettiararshi, there when he was asking a question, he held one hand on his waist. And the idea was to show his comfort with the audience. So there's a difference when you put one hand on your waist and as compared to 2 hands on your waist. Holding your arms behind shows that you're nervous. So these are some of the few things. There are a lot of other things, but I can't show all of them here. But these are the few things that you need to take care when you are on the stage delivering your speech. Clenching your hand again is a sign of nervousness as well as frustration. Instead, you can keep your arms open, which shows your trust, your comfort with the subject. Use your expressions liberally. That doesn't mean you have to use all of this. But if you look at Mike Carr, the person who won the World Championship this year, he has used his vocal variety and his facial expressions brilliantly. And that is because he knew that he had no way other than the small screen that he was delivering his speech. And if you look at him, he's been extremely smart while using his facial expressions in that speech. So now that you've learned to see the body language, and you know that body language is one of the important, as I've explained, it's one of the important aspects of in a speech delivery. Learn to be smart while using your body language. It is not to dramatize your position on the stage, but it is only to accentuate your message on the stage. Moving on, the second project that we have is to connect with storytelling. So you've learned the basic, you've understood your body language, and now you're ready to give your story to the audience. And the purpose of the speech of storytelling is to practice using a story within a given speech. Within a speech or giving a speech with a story. Now, storytelling is a very important technique that is used while giving speeches. This particular technique is used to connect with your audience in the most authentic manner. And more people are using storytelling as a technique because this is something that helps your audience understand your message better. First, let's understand what's the difference between a story and a storytelling. A story is very simple. It's an account of imaginary or real people, which is usually told just for entertainment purpose. But storytelling is an art. It's an art of sharing your message in the form of a story. And that is the art that we have to learn even in speech. Especially if you look at the World Champion of Public Speaking speeches or the international speeches, most of the time you have a trend of storytelling in that particular speech. They share a message, they share their story in the most innovative manner. But before you begin scripting your speech, there are a few things that you need to know. Now, storytelling is where you have to find a story for yourself. And many people come and say that we don't have a story to say. So what kind of a story are we going to say? You're not going to talk about stories like Cinderella and all of these animated stories. You need to have a real story that can resonate. It can be your own story or a story of inspiration. But most often, stories that is your own experience resonates with the audience quite well. But before that, you need to define the purpose of storytelling. What is the purpose of your storytelling? Are you trying to inspire audience? Are you giving them a message? Is it a commercial? Advertisement that you're doing? Because mind you, that even advertisements now have storytelling as an integral part of their campaigning. When you want to give a storytelling, or when you want to when you have a story with you, that you have to define what is that one message that you want to give your audience. Because audience cannot resonate with more than one message. Recently, I had a mentee who came up to me and gave a speech for review. And when I looked at that speech, it started off with one message. In the body of the speech had a second message. And by the time I came to the end of the speech, I had 4 messages that I had from the same speech. So it's extremely important to get one message clearly to your audience. So define the purpose and your one message that you want to give your audience. The next is to understand how you can get those stories out of your own life, for which you'll have to pause, take some time, and deep dive into your own life to pick up those events that have had a profound impact in your own life. Because those that have had a profound impact in your life can resonate with you as well as with your audience, and you can even be authentic. So once you've learned this, it becomes extremely easy to put a storytelling together. Now, the objective of my training here or my session here is not to tell you how to script a speech. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just going to give you some tips on how you can get the storytelling going. So these are the basic things that you need to look at. Now, it's not always about your own story. There are many people who say that I really don't care about, I don't want to be a great speaker. I just want to be confident. And I don't want to explain my own story. I don't want to talk about my own stories. I'm a startup business person. I'm an entrepreneur, or I'm in a corporate sector. So what is that storytelling that I can use in my sector? Which in this case, you have to understand that storytelling is becoming more and more relevant in the present world, especially in digital marketing as well. If you look at Instagram, if you look at Facebook, and if you look at all the most of the advertisements that is coming on TV or social media, it is a way to reach the consumers by understanding their story. You learn from them as we learn from their stories. So if you're selling a product, that product builds a story for you. So what the digital marketing does is that they pick up the stories of your consumers and they put it outside. So the product is actually talking about the story behind your product and not the product itself. So if you've just started your company and you're an entrepreneur, you can talk about your own story. What is the story behind building your business? Put it in a form of a story, and what is that one message that you want to give your audience? You would be surprised to see that 92% of the consumers in US want ads to feel like stories. And that's where they have understood brands like Coca-Cola, brands like Fitbit. Log on to Google and see how Coca-Cola has launched their campaign in Australia, and even the Fitbit ads. The Fitbit ads is not about Fitbit. The Fitbit ads is about their users, their consumers. This is just an example of how you can start as far as your story is concerned. I was raised in a family with entrepreneurial spirit, where I learned the meaning of hard work, and I'm excited to apply that to my own business in my work on your home. This is just a gist of how you could start off with the story if you want to talk about your own business. But let me tell you, in Toastmasters, you're not going to stand on the stage and market your own product. That's not what we're there for. But if you can find that story that could be inspirational and help people understand your message clearly. So these are just, I just wanted to link this to those people, because some of the mentees also come up saying that we're really not interested to give a story, an inspirational story. I want that story to resonate with my own work that I have. How can I use storytelling in my own profession? So these are some of the ways in which you can use storytelling in your own profession. Instead of standing there giving a product-based talk, you could give a story-based talk, which could resonate with your audience. So now that you've learned about, so let's learn about some basic elements of storytelling. First of all, in a storytelling, you need to have a setting. Time and location of the story is extremely important. You need to have a character, a plot, conflict. What does conflict mean? A conflict is basically a tension or a suspense. You have a story in place, and then you have a conflict which is creating some kind of uneasiness in you, which you're trying to solve. So when your story has a conflict, it gives a purpose to the story. It gives some believable facts to the audience and how you have overcome this conflict, and you give a solution to your audience. So a setting is extremely important. Characters where dialogues come in, that's very important. A plot is basically a sequence of events. You start as a child and how you grew up and how you overcame your difficulties. And I'm just giving you an example. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. Take, for example, your building your business is concerned. How you started off, what are those sequence of events that have led you to believe that you can do it, and what is the conflict that you faced when building your business and how you overcame it, and then what is the message that you can give your audience. Theme is basically your personal opinion on what you feel about that subject matter, what you feel about that particular, your opinion, your personal opinion. But that doesn't really have to be what you're telling the audience, but it's just what you're feeling. So now that you've understood, or at least you've got the basic idea of what body language is and what storytelling is, you're ready to give speech or take your speech to the next level. But at that time, you realize that there's an important factor that goes into speech delivery, and that's vocal variety. And vocal variety is that aspect that can build or break your speech. Just having a body language and a great storytelling technique is not sufficient. But if you're able to demonstrate it or deliver it in a way that is required, communicate to the audience in the way it's required, your vocal variety can accentuate your message. So first of all, what is vocal variety? Vocal variety is the voice that you use to show your feelings. If I'm angry, if I'm sad, if I'm happy, the voice tone that you use demonstrates the feeling that you have within. It allows the members or the audience to build an impression about you as a speaker. So it's very important to deliver the right kind of vocal variety so people perceive you the way you want them to receive your message. There are 4 important elements in vocal variety. That's the volume, the tone, the rate, and the pitch. We're going to talk about it much in detail. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be sitting here and telling you what volume, tone, rate, pitch is. We're going to do it a little different. We'll do a bit of demonstration so that it becomes a little interactive. But before that, let's just quickly run through the benefits of voice modulation. These are some of the benefits that you have in voice modulation. That is, it helps you to bind with the audience. In short, if I have to say, with all these 6 benefits, it helps you to connect with your audience instantly. It helps you to express your emotions. So let's quickly look at some aspects of our practical demonstration that we are going to do. And I have 2 speakers or 2 role players here who are going to help me do that. The first thing that we're looking at is pace and loudness. Pace is the speed at which you speak, and loudness is the volume. So when you combine both of this together, there is an impression that you create. So let's look at a demonstration. I'll just stop sharing my screen. Midit and Elna, are you ready? Can you unmute yourself? We can't hear you.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Am I
Is Midat
audible?
there?
Yes. Am I audible?
Okay. So we just looked at the small chart on the screen, which was basically talking about a combination of volume and speed. So for example, if you had to combine volume and speed in different ways, what is that impression that you would create in the minds of your audience? So speaker number one, Midhat, can you demonstrate to us the authoritative way, the slow and the loud?
I am sorry to say you have to leave the room immediately.
You could be a little more louder.
I'm sorry to say you have to leave the house immediately.
The speaker here is demonstrating the authoritative mode of speaking. The second one, fast and loud, which is an animated way. Elna, could you demonstrate that for us?
I'm sorry to say, you have to leave the house immediately.
The speaker clearly is demonstrating an animated way of saying. She's combining the volume and speed where she's giving you an animated message that she is creating an animation in her speech. The next speaker, slow and soft.
I'm sorry to say you have to leave the house immediately.
Here the speaker is trying to demonstrate authenticity in her speech. She could be a little more softer and slow depending on what is your style. Let's move to the fourth speaker now, slow and loud.
I'm sorry to say, you have to leave the house immediately.
Here the speaker is trying to demonstrate a feeling of anticipation as if something is going to happen. Now, this is just to demonstrate how combinations of different tones and vocal varieties give an expression to your audience. Depending on your style and your message, you can pick and choose the right way. So, but before that, it's also very important to understand how to improve your tone, your pace, and your pitch. So let's look at some examples as far as tone is concerned. Tone is basically, so it's the energy that you put into your speech. So first speaker, Elna, could you please demonstrate the tonal variety?
Financial stress is one of the biggest obstacles in a marriage. Whether you are in debt or trying to pay monthly bills, you need to be honest with your spouse about the family finances. You can still split certain aspects of your money if you want to have separate saving and spending accounts. When it comes to planning bill payments, though, you need to talk about that as a team.
Thank you, Elna. May I request the second speaker to speak with your tone, please?
Financial stress is one of the biggest obstacles in a marriage. Whether you're in debt or trying to pay monthly bills, you need to be honest with your spouse about the family finances. You can still split certain aspects of your money if you have to have separate savings and spending accounts. When it comes to planning bill payments, though, you need to have a talk about it as a team.
Now, clearly there is a differentiation between the first speaker and the second speaker. Can I request Saji to let me know which is the speaker that you prefer between the first speaker and the second speaker? Not the speaker, but the tone.
The second, of course.
The second, because the second gives a different message, whereas the first speaker was flat because there was no energy in the way she was speaking. So that's why tone is extremely important and the energy that you put in is very important. Let's talk about rate. What is rate? Sometimes we go very fast in the way we speak. We don't use pauses. What we're going to demonstrate now will show you the importance of pause and also importance of not having unnecessary ers and ums. So can we have the next demonstration, please? Speaker one, fast.
Why would you get up so early to attend YLP when you can stay home and sleep until late?
Second speaker.
Why would you get up so early to attend YLP when you can stay home and sleep in till late?
Now, the second speaker used pauses, which was clearly evident that pause makes the difference in your message. So use considerable and deliberate pauses that can help you to deliver your message in the way you want. Let's look at ers and ums. Speaker number 1 with the breaks.
I think when you look at the behavior pattern, it has changed, and it has changed because of the market condition, and it is necessary to relook at it.
Okay. Speaker number 2.
I think when you look at the behavior pattern, it has changed. And it has changed because of the market condition, and it is necessary to relook at it.
Good. So the second speaker clearly did not have the ers and ums, and the first speaker had the ers and ums. And if you repeatedly use it, your audience gets put off and they stop even hearing your speech. So you can decide whether you want to have your speech with the ers and ums or without the ers and ums. Now let's look at the importance of the pitch, which is the last one. Now, according to the English system, there are 4 types of pitch: the falling pitch, the low rising pitch, the high rising pitch, and the falling and the rising. We're going to demonstrate that as well. Ladies, are we ready? Quickly, we don't have time, we're running out of time. Falling pitch.
She lost her cell phone.
Right, low rising.
She lost her cell phone?
High rising.
She lost her cell phone?
Falling and rising. Midat, your...
She lost her cell phone, her wallet, and her car keys.
So these are some of the pitches that you can use depending on the message that you want to give. If you're trying to ask a question and you give them an end of a full stop, that clearly does not give the message that you want to give. Thank you very much, ladies. Let's get back to the presentation. I think they deserve a round of applause. I think we can clap for Midat and Elna. Thank you. The next one is inspiring your audience. Now you know your body language, you have your storytelling capacity in place, you know, use the vocal variety. You're ready to inspire your audience. How are you going to inspire your audience? And the biggest problem everybody has is that I don't have an inspirational story. My life is not inspirational. How can I inspire others? Does it resonate with you? I think it does. Because most of us have this idea that only his story is the most inspirational story in the world, and mine is not. But let me tell you that each of our lives is filled with a lot of inspirational stories, provided you're willing to pick it up. Another small tip that I'd like to give is that we have different paths that we are taking, right? So when you pick up an inspirational speech and you want to script your inspirational speech, just try to align it with the project, with the path that you're taking. So if you're talking about persuasive influence and you are trying to be a persuaser, look at a topic or an inspirational speech where you can bring in a persuasive angle. If you're talking about team collaboration or leadership development where you want to be a leader, take that element of that story of your life where you have inspired people as a leader. Innovative planning. Look at that project where you have created innovative projects that has inspired others. So you could link your project, your path, and these speeches. That's the way you link things together rather than looking at it in isolation. So the project objective is very clear that you practice you deliver a speech to inspire others. Let's look at some tips on how you can inspire your audience before you start writing your script. First of all, your speech has to have a clear message of not more than 10 words. Why is it that a 10-word speech is important? A 10-word message is important? Because of the clarity that particular message brings out. Because if you're going to have your message in 2 or 3 words or 2 or 3 sentences, your audience is not going to understand it. So if your message can sit or fit in the 10 words, clearly your message is clear. Your inspirational message is not to persuade them to do something. It is to inspire them to create a vision for themselves. Take them so that they can take themselves from point A to point B. There's a difference between persuasive and inspiration. So here you're just inspiring them to have a vision. Pick up a topic that is very close to your heart and that you believe in. Only then you can bring out the authenticity. Like I told before in the storytelling, pick up that incident that has had a profound effect in your life, because that's worth sharing. It could be someone else's lifesaver. You could also pick up some current trends, some current subjects. I'm sure during the COVID, you'll have a lot of them. Don't talk about COVID, but I'm sure there could be a lot of stories during the COVID era that you could pick up. Now, these are just a few tips that I could just share with you that will help you to, I'm using a lot of ers, right? I just spoke about vocal variety and ers and ums. So you could have, these are just some tips that you could have to inspire your audience to create your own story and your own speech. But there is something that you need to take care of and bear in mind is that there are three important things that go into creating your speech, especially persuasive and inspirational. Persuasive and inspirational speeches always have to have the ethos, the pathos, and the logos. Ethos is, does it ethically resonate with your audience? If you are talking about mental health and you are not, you're not qualified enough to talk about mental health on a medical, on the basis of medical suggestion, I don't think the audience will really resonate with you. If you're talking about being in the glam world and you've never seen glam world, then I think it's not the right subject to pick. So pick up that subject where you are the master, where you can resonate with the audience and can be authentic. Second is, use the emotional appeal. Does it emotionally resonate with your audience? Is your story emotional enough? Does it have personal experiences? Does it have humor? Its personal experiences doesn't mean that it only has to have death, sickness, and all these things. No, you can have a very simple story, a heartwarming story with a personal experience and humor as well. And to use props, you could also have photographs. You can have various other props that you could use that could enhance your speech. Last one is the logos. I'm not going to talk about this because this is more applicable in a persuasive speech when you're persuading someone to adopt a different mentality. So you need to give some statistical evidence as well. But as far as inspirational is concerned, these are the two things that you need to focus on. That's the ethos and the pathos. Now that you have the first four elements, can someone quickly repeat what are the four elements that we've looked at or the four skills that we've looked at? I can only see Saji, so you're going to be the target. Or look at Stephen. I don't have time actually. All right, we've looked at body language, we've looked at storytelling, we've looked at vocal variety as well as inspirational speeches. Now you're ready to deliver your social speeches as well. Because once you understand how to do those basic speeches, you can also dive into an uncharted territory. Now the whole objective of this session is to tell you that don't get too comfortable in the speeches which is easy. Also try speeches that is outside your comfort zone. And social speeches are those type of speeches probably not everybody gets an opportunity. Some of you must have already given a toast in a marriage, anniversary, or a graduation. But if in case you get an opportunity to raise a toast in any of the occasions, what would you do? Simple tool that I will just give you is a hook, a background, a 1, 2, 3 punch, and a conclusion. If I have to start my toast saying that I am Jyotika Shetty and I'm known to Stephen George and I'm here to talk about him, it's not about me, it's about Steve. So the first thing that I need to say is that today I'm here to talk, no, not I, Stephen George. Today we'll talk about Stephen George and we'll learn 3 things that I'm here to talk about 3 things that you don't know about him, or what makes him a handsome hunk, or what makes him a great biker. So what happens is that when you're telling the audience that I'm going to tell you 3 things that you did not know, it could be 1, 2, or 3, people get glued to you. Once you've established your hook, you can go into your background. Background is where you talk about your association with Stephen or with that subject matter, where you can talk about depending on the time that you have, you can talk about your association with him. The third is the 1, 2, 3 punch, where you can bring in a few stories. You've already talked about 1 or 2 hooks. If it's about 2 hooks, then 2 stories. It's about 3 hooks, then you talk about the 3 punches. Those punches are those stories which connect with the hook, which tell you why Stephen is called as a biker, or why Stephen is a great guitarist. And then once you're done, you conclude it. So if you're giving a toast, a conclusion always has to be by raising a toast. You raise a toast and give best wishes to the subject, to the person you're giving a toast, and then you say, here's wishing Stephen long life or best wishes. That's a simple basic outline of a toast. And the same goes in praising an individual or a group as well. Third one is the acceptance speech. If you're accepting an award, what would you do? The only difference here is you need to describe the why. You have an opening, why you're there, where you can just start off saying that, thank you very much for inviting me here. And I'm thankful for so-and-so association for giving me this award. And then you describe why you got this award and what led you to winning this award. End by expressing your gratitude to that organization or the person who's giving you the award, and also expressing your gratitude to your competitors as well. And then you conclude it with a thank you. Here again, you need to use your personal stories and your anecdotes and have a relaxed tone. Do not get hyper, do not fret. Now that you've understood all the skills, the last one is to make connections through networking. This is probably the most avoided project, is what I believe. But now that you're online, you have more chances to do this. This is an opportunity for you to establish and network. Understand how good are you in networking. If you have the skills, or if you've developed the skills of creating the structure of you don't need a speech here, but yes, you need to prepare yourself before you get into your networking. And the manual clearly says how you have to prepare. But I'm going to talk about different types of online networking, because that's what is required, instead of telling you again what is in the manual. Different types of online networking. In the present scenario, what you can do is you have links like Meetup, where you can go and register yourself for different events. Be a part of events where you can go and interact with different audience. Avoid Toastmasters audience every time, but try to get into audiences that you do not know. Be a part of cross-border Toastmaster event. Now it's extremely easy to do this. And not just be a part, take an important part there. Deliver an education session where people can understand your skill and they can come back and connect with you. Define your niche. Now, what do I mean by defining my niche? Is I taught you 5 other projects here. That is raising your toast, or creating an inspirational story, or even talking about body language. Go and research on body language. Understand how you can give an education session on body language. Make it a 45-minute session and let everyone know that you're giving a session. Call people to your event. Network with them. Take their details so they can network back again. So but the primary thing what you have to do is add value to people rather than showing them that I'm here for a gain, because it's not about the gain, it's about people. So your focus always has to be on the people and not on the gain. Follow up with a thank you message. Ideally what we do during networking, connect them on social media. And also you could try, if someone is interested in body language, if they have come to you, follow it up with content regarding body language that will show that you genuinely care for them. So these are some of the things that you do as far as networking is concerned, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's online or offline. I know I have taken time, but I think we have no time for question and answer session. Probably we'll answer the session because there's another 15-minute session later. So I think we will go directly to the next speaker. Is that okay? Over to you, Toastmaster Mridula.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jyotika. Now we move on. Our next trainer is has been a Toastmaster since 2015. He enjoyed level 3 project on emotional intelligence in motivational strategy path, where he journaled his thoughts for 14 days. It was a nice exercise which made him more emotionally resilient. Let's welcome DTM Vinod Panikar onto the virtual stage to deliver the next training session.
Thank you very much, Mridula. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. From since morning, 2 sessions, increasing knowledge, mastering fundamentals, understanding your style, and now we are increasing our knowledge. DTM Ramesh gave a very nice example of exams. And he said that whether you learn more in preparing or getting the result, right? Something similar to journey and destination, or whether you learn more while you're preparing to achieve your goals or after you achieve your goals. Very, very important lesson. And Toastmaster Jyotika gave a very good example of IKEA. And Toastmasters is like IKEA. Many people like to compare it with universities, which I completely differ. And we need to understand the basic difference as Toastmasters. Why? Toastmasters is for people who are 18 plus till 80 plus, right? A university will have a very narrow range of gap between the IQ and EQ level of their students. If you are in first year, second year, third year, maximum 3 to 5 years gap, right? So the curriculum is designed based on that. But just imagine a program which is 95 years plus old, catering to more than 360,000 people around the world, almost 18 plus to 80 plus, and lot of range of people are catering to a lot of range of people. How difficult it is for them to create a curriculum. Just be in the place of Toastmasters and think. If you think from that angle, you will realize that this is one of the best curriculums in the world, which can cater to a 18 plus and to a 80 plus. So already the fundamentals were covered, and understanding your style and increasing the knowledge. What I will be basically covering is, if I have the, okay, let me share my screen, and I would request the host to please grant me the privilege. I am also a trainer. You have called me. Please give me sharing screen, Toastmaster Elna. Thank you very much. Okay. So let me share with you what is the session agenda today. Now, I am going to be very methodical today because I am going to cover 8 of the projects of level 3, the remaining one. That is focus on positive, using presentation software, creating visual aids, using descriptive language, prepare for an interview, connect with your audience, know your sense of humor, and we will end with active listening. Now, how am I going to go about it is, for every project, I will be showing you the project checklist. What are the required things that you need to do for the particular project? What are the competencies that you are supposed to learn? Who is raising hand? Somebody has raised hand. Any questions? Please put your questions in the chat box to our host Mridula. I will take it later. Done? Stephen? Thank you. So, and then I will be taking you through few resources that are important in that particular project. Now, believe me, every project can be, I can speak on each and every project for more than 40 minutes. Because every project has got a manual of 20 plus pages, 18 to 20 plus pages, and it is very wide, very descriptive, right? So you will fall in love with the project. So my agenda today for the session is, at the end of this session, you should be so much charged that you will go and open all your electives in level 3 and have a look at all the resources. If you do that, that is more than enough. Okay, so let's start our journey. Let me share my screen once again. Quickly, present, yes. So before doing that, first, give a big round of applause to the entire team of Division L. Please put your hands together or just give an emoji showing the recognition for the work that they have done. I will tell you why. As a pathway guide, I have completed 2 paths, motivational strategy and presentation mastery. I am pursuing 2 paths, that is engaging humor and effective coaching. In the old path, in the old traditional education system, I had completed 30 projects. That means I was only left with 10 projects to become a DTM, but I chose to stop over there and switch to pathways. And what my understanding was, District 105 is already ahead in pathways, but it will still take a year for district or divisions to have education session on individual projects. I thought this year also will only go in understanding how to log into Toastmaster, how to choose your path, how to launch your path, how to complete your level, how to complete your path. But Division L has taken that initiative to make you understand that what is there in each and every path. So for that, kudos to them and hats off to the entire Division L team. So let's see the first project. Focus on the positive, right? Now, this project's main focus is to help you strategize a formula of how to communicate with others in a positive way. They say that your attitude determines your altitude in your life, right? So this is one of the best quotes that I like about thinking, basically. I am not what you say I am, then you are not who you are think you are, right? If I am not what you say I am, then you are not who you think you are. This is basically a food for thought to think what the statement meant, right? They say that, and there are 2 things I want to focus over here. When you download Print My Project from any project, there are 2 things that you need, there will be common. One is table of contents, where you can see the entire project's detail, table of contents. What DTM Ramesh had said in the beginning, a speech is just 10 or 15% of that project. It is like buying a supercar and driving it on a Sheikh Zayed road on a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. If you are completing just your speeches, you are buying a supercar and just driving it at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. To get the entire experience out of that project, you need to go through this entire table of content. And what does that table of content has got? It has got videos, it has got interactive activity. The pre-assessment and the post-assessment, which all of you are taking, is a interactive activity, and the logos are there. You can see on which page which logo is there, and of course the resource for like evaluation resources and many other resources are there. Now this is the project checklist. Now what does the project checklist have? It has got a timing. Okay, now look at this. In pathways, a project does not mean it is only a speech. A project means minimum 1 speech. There will be other activities that are associated with that project that you have to do. Okay, so let's see, focus on the positive. This project, what is the prime purpose, is to be aware of your thoughts and feeling as well as the impact of your response on others. This is the purpose. What does that project include? You have to record your moods daily for 14, minimum 2 weeks. This is somewhat similar to what I did in emotional intelligence, which had a huge change. And my friends, this project, I have chosen this project as first for a reason. In this situation, we have to practice this. Irrespective of what you feel, just go today and do this exercises in focus on positive. Robin Sharma, the world famous author, says that tie a rubber band and whenever there is a negative thought, pull it, right? Jay Shetty, who has just written a book called Think Like a Monk, he says that spot, stop, and swab. That means whenever you think a negative thought, spot it, first identify it, then stop over there, breathe for a few seconds, then swap it with a positive thought, right? So try this exercise. So this is basically the project checklist. And these are the competencies that you are going to learn in this project. I will not read one by one. First of all, because it is not, as a presenter, it is not a good thing to read through each and every line. So I will just give it for you to read it. But let me tell you the difference between competency and skill. Competency is the combination of your knowledge, your skills, and your ability. C.K. Prahlad in the early 1990s had wrote a paper which is the most widely printed ever in Harvard Business Review paper, The Core Competencies of a Business. He wrote a paper which said that every company differs or has a comparative advantage from the other company through the core competencies that it has got. Think about it. It's not what you do, it's what you do well. That is your core competency. And a competency is a combination of knowledge, skills, and ability. You may have the knowledge that this is the project, this is the purpose. You may have also tried it once, but if you have not practiced enough thoroughly, you will not have the ability to do this focus on positive project in a good way. Not even any other project. So let me ask you, what are the core competencies of Toastmasters? Type in the chat box quickly. Type in the chat box quickly, what are the core competencies of Toastmasters? Quickly, quickly, quickly. Okay, Stephen, are you getting any answer? Because, okay, just let me check. What are the core competencies of Toastmasters?
I can say it out, but I want the audience to say it.
Yeah, please let the audience say it. I will give only 1 minute. Okay, somebody says presentation. Very good. So everyone might have seen at least 10 presentations, pathways presentation in the last 2 years. And this is the first slide in all the pathways presentation, in the first 3 slides. Training, interpersonal communication. Okay, Rahna is there. Rahna ji, please. Okay, communication, effective confidence. Very good. Let it come in, let it be coming. Why I am asking this is, the core competencies are the main thing through which Toastmasters differentiates itself from its competitors. What is different in me? This is my core competency. This is what you say. This is my core competency. So every project, there are some competencies. Make sure you go through it thoroughly. Okay. Now, I had a mnemonic that Samir GP had given. Papa is singing, Mama is crying. Okay. That means public speaking, interpersonal skills, management, strategic relationships, and communication. Sorry, confidence. Right. These are the 5 core competencies on which Toastmasters is built. And from this 5, there are many other sub-competencies that I am showing to you in every path, in every project, basically, right? So let's quickly, so these are the core competencies, these are the list of competencies that you will learn while you go through this particular project. One of the nice resource that I found was comparing negative thoughts and positive thoughts. Like, for example, if a new member says, my speech was not great, right? So instead of that, spot that thinking first, stop over there and switch it with a negative thought. My fellow club members are here to help me. That is also true, right? So it is your mentality of how you think. It's your map of the world or your perception of how you think. And this project will help you identify that you are thinking, if you are thinking negatively, to stop there and switch that thinking. Do this exercise for 14 days. It would be a life-changing one, right? So these are some of the exercise. Again, it's one of the resources. I will not go through one by one. This is only to show you like a trailer, go and watch the full movie in your own path, go to the base camp and watch completely. Second, using a presentation software. Okay. Now, using a presentation software, the project checklist has got developing presentation slides. So we are all using, and somebody is playing with my screen. This usually happens when my daughter is sitting and her teacher is in the schools every morning. Okay. But enjoy, like what you say, it's fine. Project checklist. The purpose is to introduce basic presentation software strategies for creating and using slides. Most of us will be using PowerPoint over here. The reason being that is it's compatible with all the laptops and all mobile and whatever it is. There are other presentation softwares also. But here we will be practicing basically with the PPT, this presentation software. The timing for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Let's see what is there. Some of the competencies that you will learn, basically to identify the basic presentation styles and all those things. Now, when you are using a presentation, these are some of the things that you need to take care, and these are there in detail in your project. Your color options, right? Using complementary color, like I am using complementary color, and if I use a red background, how will it look? Right, red background and white one, so it doesn't look good. So use complementary colors that will help, and be aware of white spaces. White spaces are the edges that you give from top, right, left, and all these things, right? DTM Devlal from Division H had taught me 2 years ago all this thing, because I was a very bad presenter. I can talk for hours and hours, but if you give me a PPT, I was like what you say, it would look all the completely different. So he told me about the white spaces, how the graphic designers know this very well, how to keep distance between top, right, left, and all those things, right? So these are some of the skills that you have to, or you can develop while you are doing this project. So the next time when you are doing this particular project using presentation software, think about all these things. Okay. Now, over here, I will tell you one more thing. There is a concept called as Pachakucha, P-E-C-H-A-K-U-C-H-A. It's a Japanese concept called as chit chat. It means, and there are Pachakucha competition all around the world. 20 slides, every slide for 20 seconds. Okay. And you come and give your presentation in 7 minutes. And I feel that it suits Toastmasters. Try this the next time with all this combination of colors and font, right? Just type in Google P-E-C-H-A-K-U-C-H-A. You will get a lot of slides. There are a lot of competition. Even in Dubai, in IT, it is a normal thing. When a new member joins, the onboarding process itself has got this Pachakucha event, where 6 or 7 new people will come and show the live event in this format. It can, the 2020 is for the competition, but you can show as many slides as you want. Seth Godin, one of my idols in marketing, says that you should not write any text on PPTs. Just show images. Let the audience go gaga over the images and the quality of images. You just need to speak. And you can show as many slides as you want. These are different perspectives, right? But next time when you are doing a presentation, try to implement this. That is the thing that I would like to share. The other thing, creating effective visual aids. This is something which is complementary to the presentation software, but creating visual aids, over here, the presentation is just one of the component. There are other components for creating a visual aids. Human beings thinks in images. If I tell you don't think about a monkey, the first thing that pops up in your mind is a monkey, right? So if you learn to utilize this power, because visuals have very high emotional impact on people, as well as in training, they say that it helps in retention. That is why visuals help. Okay. So creating visual aids, what is the project has? Create 1, 2, 3 visual aids. Okay. And we will go through what are the visual aids, some of them. And it's also a 5 to 7 minutes speech. These are the competencies that you will be learning. So make sure that you go through the project thoroughly. Now, some of the visual aids over here are flip charts, whiteboards, presentation software, video, posters, props, handout. Any trainer who has done training will definitely use flip charts. It is very useful when you are taking input from groups. Right? When you are taking input from group, you just write 1, 2, 3, 4. To write long text, flip chart is not useful. But to take input and write point, if I was in a physical meeting and if I had asked you, for example, what are the core competency, I would have used flip chart. That would have been the best thing. Okay. Whiteboards also are better to take input. Now you can use Zoom. In Zoom also there is an option to use whiteboards. Try that in your club and in your next presentation. Presentation software, of course, PPT and others. Video. Now, who was the world champion who came with Aaron Beverly? Mark Hunt, right, Steven? 2 days before. Or any, even during our DTAC, Craig Valentine or all the other world champions, if you see, they use the videos very effectively. Right? The videos were very, very effectively used over there. Posters are generally for physical meeting. Props, this is a pen, if you can see it, right? If I want to use any props that helps my project speech, not just for using purpose, it is a good thing. Handouts can be given before your speech or after the speech. For example, when the world champion Mark Hunt came, he gave an entire speech based on the tree, some tree, small tree, a bonsai tree. And then he told he will send out the handouts to everyone. And we got the handouts also, right? Why? Then it helps us to retain that information of what we learned, because after the session, we might forget what happened. But when you go through the handout, oh, I learned this, I had done this, I had done this. It can also be useful before the speech. If you want to assess something, this is something which we will be speaking on. We want you to be prepared for this. For example, I could have given a handout or something for level 3, focus on competency, and come little bit prepared. So we can take this presentation to the next level. Right? So this can be done over here. These are some of the questions that are there inside the project. I will not go in detail for this. Okay, now fourth, using descriptive language. This is a project which, if you have to take part in international speech competition, you have to go through this. I was not good at all 3 years ago in this, but then slowly I learned. For example, if you enter a room and you see a friend, so I will say I entered a room and saw a friend. Okay, but when you are using a descriptive language, I opened the door, the dim light was dim and the face was glowing, the aroma was like this and all this thing, and you create an aura and you take the audience with you to that particular place. Why? Because sight, you are giving them visual cues, auditory, and the smell also. So the audience is feeling that, okay, I can hear the noises, I can hear the TV noise, I can hear the chocolate coffee or whatever it is, right? So you can paint a picture with your words. The exact words would be, you can exactly paint a picture with your words in the mind of others. The project is 5 to 7 minute speech, and some of the these are the competencies that you will be learning. The basic thing you will be learning in this project is the difference between literal language and figurative language. And that is very important if you want to take your speaking to the next level, because using similes, metaphors are very, very important. And these are some of it's given in the project. There are much more figurative language than this, but these are given in the project. The similes are there, metaphors are there, symbolism, hyperbole, pun. All this is given inside it's there stored inside your base camp. It is waiting, it is calling you, telling, please open me and use me in the clubs, right? So make sure you go and do this. Now we'll do a small exercise, okay? Look at this. Imagine you are going to enter into a coffee shop. You are going to enter into a coffee shop. And once you enter, What are the things that you are going to see? What are the things that you are going to smell? What are the things that you are going to hear in that particular place? I want you to write it in the chat. I will not take any one. Just think for 30 seconds. Don't type immediately. Please don't type immediately, because, okay, one thing I missed in the focus on positive was, if you need to think positive, the first thing that you need to understand is what movement is for body, stillness is for mind. Until you stop, your mind does not work, right? So 30 seconds, still your mind, think about it, about this situation, and then type it on the chat box. I would love to hear, I would love to see the chats in a descriptive language. In a descriptive language, as much as possible. Okay, start, go ahead. In the chat box, as much, Stephen, you can also write. I want to see you can, even before entering the coffee shop, it was raining, that can also be added, and the first rain smell was coming. Whatever you want to add, you can add, right? You can write whatever you want, but it should be descriptive in a way that you can feel that. As an audience, I should feel, oh, I can smell that coffee, or I can hear the noise, whatever is happening. I want you to weave a story, not menu furniture people. I want you to weave a story. So when Pranav, you are saying, I can hear the cups and saucers, who are the people who are making the noise of the cups and saucers? What color of dress they are wearing? What type of look they have on their face, right? Would anybody like to volunteer to speak on this? Okay, let me take two more. Okay, aroma of a fresh ground bean, sound of people placing order. Very good. Midat, you want to speak?
You mean read out the comments?
Not read out the comments. Just make a story of that, please.
Go ahead, Midat.
If you are speaking, if you are giving, means the purpose is to make that place alive in the mind of audience.
Okay, I'll try my best with
Yes,
what I have.
please.
Hear the noise of the cups and saucers, the clicking of the glasses, the subdued lights, a friendly atmosphere. The aroma of the fresh ground beans, sound of the people placing orders, woman in the corner enjoying the brunch. The smell of the coffee wafted to my nostrils as I stepped into the pleasantly lit coffee shop at the corner of the second street, and the sounds of morning chatter reverberated around the room. Ambience, atmosphere, soft whispers, loud clattering of cutlery, purring of coffee machine, waiters ambling down the aisle. What a pleasant feeling that I'm going to achieve my target over a cup of coffee.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Midat. That was very good. Awesome. Now, you see the difference when somebody uses a descriptive language rather than I entered a coffee shop and ordered a coffee, right? The same thing, when you describe it, people will come with you. Craig Valentine calls it the technique of tap, tease, and transport. Tap into the mind of people, tease them with use your language or rhetoric, and transport them with you to your world, right? So using descriptive language helps you do that particular thing. Prepare for an interview. Now, this project has got two parts. Not two parts, the interview can be in two ways. One is you are preparing for a job interview, right? Second is you are an expert who is giving an interview. Like Oprah Winfrey has called you, or someone has called you, like what you say, no, in Dubai TV, someone has called you to speak about Toastmasters, or give a district has kept an event where you have been called to speak about Toastmasters, or anything that is you are expert on particularly. Okay, so these are the two parts. Either you can prepare for a job interview or you can prepare for an expert interview. Both of them needs you to ensure that you know your own strength. Both of them needs make sure that you know your strength. And the Gallup organization, the founder of Gallup organization says that when you work on strength, you create success. When you work to avoid your weakness, and when you work on your weakness, you avoid failures. A very profound thought. When you work on your strength, you create success. When you work on your weakness, you avoid failures. So that is why identifying our strength is very, very important. And this project helps you do that. Now, this project has got a skill worksheet. Okay, the interview instruction resource, instruction resource. So if you are giving an interview, so that resource, how to take an interview and all this thing, everything is there in detail in this particular project. And this also is a 5 to 7 minutes project. Okay. Now, these are the competencies that you will be learning over here. This project requires you to assess yourself rationally, fairly, objectively, not with any ego or I am good or I am bad. Okay, it has to be fair. So that is one more purpose of this particular project. So this is the identifying your skill worksheet, list of activities you enjoy. Go and do it today itself. But this is there inside the base camp. This is also the interviewer instruction. So if you are taking an interview and you can give it to the other person or to ask them questions, most of the interviews are pre-planned. So they give the set of questions to the interviewer much in advance, simple, and for an element of surprise, they may keep 10 or 15% impromptu, but most of them are pretty planned, very well planned. These are the types of questions that you can ask, and these all resources have been given. Now, connect with your audience. Now, all the professional speakers when you take a course, they say that read your room. That is the first lesson that they teach. Read your room. Understand to whom you are going to speak. I may have a message that says that speak with respect or spend time with your loved ones. But if I am giving that speech to a 35+ audience, I may use my family as a story. If I am giving it in IMT college, I will use the time when I was in college and spend with my friends that story. If I am talking to school kids, I will use a different example of how they can spend time with their parents. Right? So understanding your audience is very, very important. And speakers usually create an audience persona. You first analyze the characteristic of the audience. You imagine that there is only one person that you are going to speak to. And then you write down all the characteristics. Okay, what is the age group? This is the age. And how will my audience, one person, look like? Okay, it's called as audience persona. In the project, it is called as characteristic of a group. What are the characteristics? For example, if a non-Toastmaster is speaking to a Toastmasters group, he is not supposed to speak on sex, religion, and politics in this region, right? And there are a lot of speakers like who may come and who would like to speak on all this thing, who use words which are very harsh. But if they are coming to Toastmasters, we will tell them very clearly that our audience we cannot use these words. Okay, so that is where it is very, very important to understand your audience. What does this project include? It's a 5 to 7 minute speech. And it says that you have to practice this with an unfamiliar audience. So it is better to do it in another club. It is not mandatory. But why this is important is, just take this example. Anybody who has ever gone to a speech contest will realize that in a club, a humorous speaker will get a lot of laughs. People will just laugh even if they come on the stage. Keep on laughing. When they go to area, the laughs are only segmented. that wherever the club is sitting, only laughs will come from that part. When they go to division, then it is lost. Right? Why? Because there are more people over there, and that 5 people, if they are laughing, it will not come. That is why it is very important to practice your speeches in front of audience that is unfamiliar. Right? So that familiarity, try to be get out of your comfort zone, because after some time, each one of us will become comfortable in our own club. So try to get out of your comfort zone and give the speeches. These are the competencies that you will be learning. Make sure you are going through each, and after that you become a competent speaker in that. Understanding your audience, some examples are given: demographic stereotypes. For example, Asian, Middle East, European, all cultures are different, and we are here a melting pot of all the cultures. So we should be, every club, every area, every division is different. You go to any other division and see all the, even if it is online, the energy you can feel is different. Right? Just try to go to the clubs outside our district. You will feel the energy is different. So understanding this is very, very important. What is the age group of the people who are attending this? What are the stereotypes? Asia may have a special stereotype. Middle East may have a certain reservation. Europeans may have certain reservation. So understand all these things before preparing a speech. That is how you can connect to the audience in a much better way. Hearing versus listening. Just a second. Now, I think this is active listening, which one slide is missing. I don't know how it got connecting with your audience, connected it too much, I believe. So, and the active listening went, but the active listening project, basically, let me check if it is there. Okay, it is there in the end. So I will skip that. Okay, it is there. Don't worry, it is there. The second last project is know your sense of humor. Now, this is a basic project if you want to take a baby step into making humorous speeches. Why? Because it is just like understanding your leadership style and understanding your communication style. You don't have an assessment over here, but it is helping you to understand what is your type of humor that you have got. Some people have got sarcastic humor, right? Some people don't laugh when they are saying anything humorous. Some people use dark humor. Some people keep on laughing. People don't understand what they are saying, right? So understand your sense of humor is your basic baby first step on the journey to understanding, are you a humorous speaker or not? Many people would like to be a humorous speaker, right? Because humor, once you make people laugh, you immediately connect with the audience. That is one of the best thing. But never tell a joke. This is another thing that speakers say, because if it falls flat, then you are gone. So that is why personal stories and your pain points in life, what you don't like, make it funny, right? Like, for example, I always say about my wife. For example, she has this, even at night, 2 o'clock, she gets up, she will keep cleaning everything. So things start disappearing when she gets up. So I have to be very, very careful where I am putting my things, right? So what does this project include? It's a 5 to 7 minute speech. Basically, you have to develop you will come to know about your sense of humor. And this is not a stand-up comedy. You have to tell a story. And there is a lot of resources on storytelling in this particular project. Knowing your audience detail is there given in this project. Jokes, stories, sharing your experience, whatever you want, everything is given very clearly in this. And this is the last project where I would like someone to speak on table topic for 1 minute. My red light is already showing. So this is the last project. So what I will do is, many people ask me, can I do a trivia master for table topic, for active listening? Can I do this? Can I do that? No. The project includes serving as topic master at a club meeting, period. No doubts. How many people are there, Stephen, today?
Right now, there are 44. Right now.
44, okay. 44 people, you are not going to ask this question again, that active listening, what is the project? It means serving as a topic master. And you are going to go to your club and tell this to your entire club. That active listening means serving as a topic master. What you have to do while you are serving as a topic master is, active listening project is, first of all, you need to understand the difference between hearing and listening. And whatever the topics you gave and the speaker speaks, pick something from that particular speech and repeat it. That shows, now hearing is a sensory activity. I can hear AC now, I can hear my kids shouting in the room also, but listening is something you do with your entire body and with intent. You will have an intention to listen to someone, right? So that is the difference between speaking, means hearing and listening. So I wish everyone, this was the last slide, for a path to be better version of yourself. Now, before that, let me call upon the last person, because it's already showing red. Is somebody interested to be a table topic master? Quickly.
Yeah, I'll go for
Saji?
it. I'll go for
Okay.
it.
Toastmaster Saji, your topic is, what is your purpose in life? Toastmaster Saji, what is your purpose in life?
Good afternoon, friends. It's a very interesting topic. The purpose in life for me has shifted throughout my working career. When I started out, perhaps the purpose was to achieve a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and I kept chasing that rainbow. At some point in time, that changed to career aspirations like a better post, a better title. At some other point, it became a better family life, more friends. When I joined Toastmasters again, the purpose seemed to be to get comfortable on the stage and have a lot more confidence in delivering good speeches. So the purpose in life all depends on your stage of life. I believe your purpose in life may have been different as a child, is different in your midlife, and probably will be a lot more different when you have grandchildren and much more younger generation people around you. So I think as we go on in life, we need to take a step back and reassess what we are doing to achieve the purpose in life. Because, like financial advisors tell you, that you need to reassess your insurance goals, you probably need to do this as well. That you need to reassess what you're doing to achieve your purpose in life. Over to you.
Give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Saji, everyone. So now 30 seconds break. Think, what did you listen? Not hear. What would you pick up from Toastmaster Saji's speech? And if you want, you can share it in the chat, but keeping the time in mind, I will just say that if I was the active listening, I was doing this project, I would say that, wow, Toastmaster Saji, what a simile of rainbow. Just as 7 colors, we have so many varied purpose in our life. And you said right that when I was a child, I had something different, and today it is different, something like that, right? So the purpose of an active listener is to listen to that particular speech carefully and pick out the words that were good enough and to reiterate it to the public again, right? So because after he goes away, people will forget. But remember, if you can highlight the key points again, how good it would be. So it is a very, very important project. And I believe that do this, have a table topic session irrespective of club meetings. Call 10 people and keep on having this and finish this roll off, check this off from level 3. Okay. So I hope I was able to add value to Division L team today, and you will go and check right from being positive to being an active listener. And the most important skill in being a leader is a listening skill. So remember that. So all the very best to all of you. Thank you very much, and over to our beautiful host, E.M. Rudla. Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Vinod. A place for everything. There's an old adage, a place for everything and everything in its place. Think about it. When life is organized, retrieving things that are needed becomes extremely easy. Our mind, like the drawers and cupboards, can also be organized. An organized life is a key to having more clarity in life. A clear mind is one that can access any thought, questions, or challenges and put it in words, much like what we will be required in our question and answer session to gain more clarity on today's training session. With this, I'd like to hand over the virtual stage to Toastmaster Stephen George to take on the further proceedings.
Thank you so much. Can we have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Mridula? It's just to give everyone a brief background. This is the first time that she's taking any event at an area at division level, but the way you did it, it was absolutely amazing, Mridula. We told you that you would be the right one to do it. So first of all, great job. Now, before I quickly move on to the vote of thanks, and Midhat, Elna, are there any questions that we need the panelists to answer? Because that's more important.
Yes, we have a question. The question is, can I read out the question? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Toastmaster Vinod. The question is, considering body language and vocal variety are projects in level 3, what is the appropriate way to evaluate these facets for level 1 and 2 speeches? Can
Okay, Ella, I think I can answer that,
Yes,
because one thing which is very unique in all the pathways evaluation is you will see apart from the standard evaluation on the first page for which is specific to the project, the second sheet has got all the different aspects of communication, be it body language, eye contact, everything is there. What is the purpose of keeping this standard in every project? Because we know these are all the different aspects of communication skills. So at every stage, what the evaluator has to do is gives you an input on where you are with this. Even if you are doing an icebreaker, the evaluator has the ability to say that, okay, your body language is at number 2, your eye contact is at number 3, even though you would not have done those projects specifically. What the speakers are supposed to do, if you want to get the best out of pathways, is to store all of these with you and refer to this as a kind of a trend line to say that as I have progressed and these are the areas which were weak, either if it's in terms of eye contact or body language, to say when I did my icebreaker, I was at this point. When I did my level 1s and 2s, I went up to here. When I did my level 3 and I got to know the intricacies of body language, I went up here. And whatever learnings I got in level 3 as part of body language, I've been able to consistently take it through, right through my level 5 every time when I do. So it's very important. People should not just say, okay, I've got an evaluator, upload it in my Basecamp and end of story with that evaluation. You're supposed to store them and see how your progress is. So from that perspective, at every point, it's an opportunity for the evaluator to say that where the speaker stands in his or her opinion in various aspects of communication, as for the speaker, to see how you have been progressing across. I hope it answers the question.
Can I also add something here? Can I also add something here?
Yes, Jyotika, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. As far as the level 1 and 2 evaluation is concerned for a body language, on the evaluator's part, it is what he saw or she saw and what he or she felt. So earlier, it was DTM Ramesh clearly mentioned that, yes, it's recommended to share the project objectives, the entire manual with the evaluator. However, the evaluator has set objectives. Now that does not go into the technical aspect of what and why. So at level 1 and 2, what he felt and what she saw and what are the points of improvement for the speaker, that is what is recommended. Not taking into account what is in level 3 as body language project, those technicalities. So I think as an audience perspective, this is what he felt and saw the speaker do.
Thank you, Jyotika and DTM Ramesh. Elna, Mridha, do we have any more questions?
No, at my no.
Okay, fine, perfect. So then we'll move on quickly. I request all of you to just stay back for maximum 5 minutes. I know I'm known to exceed time, but I won't exceed it that much because this is for me the most important part. How many of you here know IPL? I can only see a few videos on stage. Everyone knows IPL, the Indian Premier League, right? All of you know. You can put a thumbs up, yeah. So when Gautam Gambhir, who's one of the captains of a team called Kolkata Knight Riders, when he won the IPL, he said a very beautiful line when Ravi Shastri asked him. He said that a successful captain doesn't make a successful team. A successful team makes a successful captain. Okay. I absolutely loved it because he said it around 5 years back, and that time I never was in leadership at that point of time. But now I know the real meaning of it. Before I move on to the vote of thanks, I would just like to thank two people especially. I do not have certificates for them because I'll be doing something special for them later. And those are the two assistant division directors that I have. First of all is someone who is the brainchild. Now, DTM Vinod, you mentioned about how Division Ls thought of having this idea. This idea was first brought about by this wonderful lady by the name of DTM Soumya Rangarajan. She's somebody that I look up to, and even though she's going through a little bit of personal difficulties, she was able to catch up and make sure that everything goes well. The only thing I told her is do not focus on the number of participants, just go ahead and try to get the best trainers. And as you can all see, she has done that as well. So I know that she's not there, but I'm sure that she'll be watching this recording in the future. Can we have a big round of applause for DTM Soumya Rangarajan, please? Thank you so much. I can see the claps across all the place. Wonderful. And then we have somebody who is chirpy, who's always laughing, always happy, and she's somebody who I call an angel. So I have two angels in my life. One is my mother, and the other one is this personality who is ready for anything and everything. From the smiles, I know you guys have understood who I'm talking about. Somebody who took care of the logistics, the organization, ensured that I can sleep well at night. Please put your hands together, and Zoom Master, make sure that she switches on her video, and we give a big round of applause for Toastmaster Elna Tito, who's the Assistant Division Director. Can we have a big round of applause? Elna, please switch on your video. Spotlight on her, please, so that everyone looks at her. She deserves all the, smile a bit, Elna. It's okay, the event is over. Great job. Now, let me just quickly move on to the next part of it, and that is giving honor to the individual trainer. So I never prepare for vote of thanks. And rightly so, because I don't believe that this is something which can be, one second. All right, Jyotika, can you see the screen?
Yes.
You can see it, right? Okay, fine, cool.
Yes,
so,
yes.
First part of it is somebody who I call a sage. Okay, so the only instruction which I had given DTM Soumya is let's have the best of the best presenters, and please let's have somebody who have done those levels before and not somebody who's going to read it out of the pathways slides. Just have somebody who's done it before. And for level 1 and 2, we couldn't have asked for somebody who is, I call him a sage. He's like Yoda, you know, he's like, if people are saying Star Wars know who Yoda is. He's like Yoda, the wise one who knows the right words. And like Jyotika, you rightly said, nobody can take level 1 and 2 in 40 minutes. Literally, like in that small thing, he told exactly what needs to be told. Can we have a big round of applause for DTM Ramesh, and can we have the spotlight on him, please? Ramesh, I'm not going until people see your face again. Huh? Thank you. There you go.
Hi. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, DJ Ramesh. Please ensure you use a divisional background next time. Anyways, moving on. It's an inside joke between me and Ramesh. Okay. Then we have somebody who is, I would say one of the reasons I became the divisional director, because if she had not introduced me to Division B, I would not have been here at this point of time. Just one pointer for every presenter in the future, because all of you will be doing education sessions. Did you see the amount of preparation which Jyotika had done to each and every slide? It wasn't just going through the name of it and so she actually coordinated with Elna and Midhat before, had live sessions. I mean, she is a master presenter, but the subtle way of doing a presentation is actually what I learned from Jyotika more than the level 2 content. I mean, that was amazing, but the way you organized the whole thing, Jyotika, hats off to you. Can we have a big round of applause for Toastmaster Jyotika?
Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have the spotlight? Zoom Master, I won't thank you until we have the spotlight. Okay, great. Okay.
It is on her.
It's on me. Thank you.
Now
Thank you.
the next trainer is somebody who I look up to because he was the past division director. The amount of knowledge this person has is mind-blowing. Even if you read one book a week like Bill Gates does, you will not come up because he reads research papers. Every single training that he does is like an opening speech of a debate competition with research, facts, and statistics. And he says the right things. And my mother is behind me. She was laughing throughout, especially when you did your bit about humorous speech contests, where you have at club level, everyone laughs at the segmentation. I was absolutely brilliantly done. I'm somebody who has not done level 3, and now I know exactly what it is, especially the active listening part and the interview part. I know that's what I'm going to do. Can we have a big round of applause to a man who I look up to quite a lot, DTM Vinod Panikar.
Thank you very much.
Slides can be changed.
Sorry. Vinod, this is your certificate.
Thank you.
Then we have somebody who I've already given honor to. The first time I saw her in ESCF Toastmasters Club, I came to know why is this lady not getting more attention from the public. We gave her the opportunity. She said, yes, I want to do it. There was no coaxing involved, nothing at all. I hope that Aparna and others in ESCF will see the work that you have done, Mridula. This won't be the only opportunity to get. Wonderfully done, well prepared, and we absolutely love the chair that you're sitting on as well. Please put your hands together and congratulate Toastmaster Mridula. All right, then we have somebody who is, everyone takes, now the moment I saw her, she was introduced by Toastmaster Adarsh to me, and I was like, she is a future leader. I'm tired of saying that she is a future leader of Division L. For me and the division and the area team, she is a current leader. Ask her anything, she picks it up. She learned how to be a Zoom master by Sharon Kurvilla just 2 weeks or 3 weeks back. And today she did a phenomenal job. There was no hiccups apart from the fact that 2 minutes of recording got cancelled somehow. But apart from that, she did a fantastic job. Please put your hands together and congratulate Toastmaster Midhat for a phenomenal job as Zoom Master, even though she did not have an assistant Zoom Master. She said she will take it up. So great job on that, Midhat. Proud of you. And last but not the least is somebody who I want him to show his face. Can we please have his face on screen, please? Poor timer never gets to show his face. He's like a traffic policeman only doing green, yellow, and red. Is a Pranav, can we see you, please? There you go. Can we have, excellent. Please, he is the brother of my best friend, Toastmaster Pranav, and I've seen him grow up from a young Gavalier who could not even say 2 words to a mature, maybe not mature that much, but a Toastmaster who is seriously growing up the Toastmaster ladder. Pranav, great job today. Absolutely brilliant. Please put your hands together and congratulate Toastmaster Pranav. And last but not the least, we would like to thank each and every one of you. This is, by the way, Pikachu. For those of you who don't have kids, this is a Pokemon. It's my favorite Pokemon. I have nothing as the leader of this division to say But thank you to each one of you. Thank you so much to Anup and Alexander for doing the tough work of promoting this. And Anup will be sharing the recordings across the district, because I believe the content here was so valuable that it should be shared across the district. Anup, let's do that. But thank you so much for spending your Friday mornings with us. This next week, we are going to have the level 4 and level 5. We will only have it if we get a particular person for level 4. We are trying our best. We know who to get for level 5. So we hope that all of you will come back for that same event, same place, same time next week. We will keep you posted if you get that level 4 trainer. But apart from that, thank you so much for attending. God bless you all, and see you all for the next event. Thank you very much. Okay, let me stop sharing. And yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Places as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Midat and Elna and Mridula as well. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. It was an
Bye.
informative session.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Ramesh and Vinod.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
Jyotika. And thank you. Thanks a lot to Midat, Elna, the entire team. Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot, Stephen, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
regional team. Best
Thank you.
wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all. I learned a lot. I'm a DTM and I've done 2 parts, but I learned a lot here today. Very impressed. Well done, everybody.
Welcome back
Thank you.
for the PR masterclass. You were there, right?
Was indeed.
Welcome back. I think you're a regular. Be coming to
My
one of
pleasure.
now. Welcome. Great.